Hey, this is Jamey with Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanisms in Cubitos, which is a relatively new, very new, I would say, racing game, push your luck racing game. Two mechanisms that I really love. I love racing games, also engine building games, because you're building an engine of different dice over the course of the game. So engine building, racing, push your luck, and kind of a bag building feel without a bag, using dice instead, all comes together to form a really great game. I played two games of this, 4 players back to back. It took us maybe a little over an hour and a half to play 2 games, and two very different feels based on the different maps in the game. And I'll start out with that. The maps are very different, and one of my favorite little touches on them that reminds me a little bit of one of my favorite video games, Mario Kart 64, are the shortcuts. So here's a shortcut here, and the shortcuts are all a little bit different. This one says you can jump from here to here if you pay 15 coins on your turn. There's another one that we encountered that said you had to have 6 feet, 6 movement to jump on a big shortcut. But so I just love the addition of shortcuts on the maps because finding ways to kind of game the system and beat the map feels really good in a racing game. I really, really like that. One general aspect of the game that I really like that I wanted to call out is that it's almost all simultaneous. The designer made an interesting choice, and I think the right choice, to allow players to end up on the same space. So you can see here, I happen to be out in the water. I had a special card that let me do that, or a special type of die. I'm on a square, but any player could put their meeple on top of mine. And so there's no blocking, and in that way, you can really you can do all the dice rolling that I'll explain in a second. You can do that simultaneously, and you can do the movement phase of the game and even the buy phase of the game simultaneously. It's all simultaneous, so it all flows really well. You're engaged at all times in the game. The last system that I wanted to mention, though, the heart of the game, is the dice rolling push your luck system. And I've tried to design push your luck systems. I have one little one in Tapestry, but I don't have a whole game built around it. And I just have a lot of appreciation for how John put together this push your luck system, because it's very tough to make players want to push their luck, but not go too far, and to reward them if they succeed, but also kind of give them a boost if they fail. And he did this throughout the system. So the basic idea in Cubitos is that you are rolling a certain number of dice. Usually it's 9 dice, but that number can vary based on something I'll explain in a second. But you start rolling 9 dice, and you were trying to get them to land with icons on them. But as you can see, a lot of the faces of the dice have nothing on them. So you're rolling a bunch of dice, and whenever the dice land with icons on them, you put them over into this active section. You'll activate them later, but you just put them there. And you bust if on any of your rolls where so say I have all these dice locked in, I could continue to roll these dice if I want, but if all of these dice show nothing, if they all have blank faces, then you bust. And if you bust, all of these dice are pushed over. If you want, you can actually leave some dice here, but normally or often you'll push all the dice over and you'll move up on a track that lets you gain some bonuses. And some of those bonuses include money that you can gain to buy better dice, and also the ability to roll more dice instead of the starting 9 dice on your hand. So you move up. So busting does this good thing for you where you can move up on this track and gain some benefits. Also, if you fall behind on the race, so this could happen if you bust or you're just not rolling a lot of movement, there are these lines on the board. You can see these red lines where you, kind of like in Quacks of Quedlinburg, you count the number of lines that the leader is ahead of you, and that contributes to some extra stuff that you get as well. I never encountered that in my game, so I can't remember if you get extra money for that or if you get extra dice to roll. It's one of those two. I think it's extra dice to roll. But the other clever part about this system is, until you have 3 dice that are successes, that have something showing on the face of the dice that you roll, you can't bust. And so on your first roll on any given round, if you roll all blanks, it's okay. It doesn't matter, because you don't have 3 dice with icons locked in yet. So you can always you can keep rolling until you have 3 dice with icons, and then you have the potential to bust after that. So I really like that little touch, that you can roll with confidence early on without feeling that you need to bust, or that you could bust. And just the whole system, everything I've described here contributes to a system that works, a push your luck system that works, as well as the ability to gain new dice that have better faces, or just better for your system, that your engine that you're creating here. Yeah, I've explained a lot of stuff there with the push your luck, but it is a lot going on, but it isn't a lot to remember during the game. It flows very smoothly, and it gives you a lot of interesting choices. Like even here, if I rolled these dice, these are money here that you can see with these ones. I can't remember what these dice meant in this particular game, but oftentimes you're thinking, okay, I need enough money to buy a certain die. There's a certain die that I want to buy, and that clarity of having this thing that you want to do, or you need to get a certain number of movement to move to a certain place on the map. Knowing that and having that clarity of what you want contributes to the decision of, is it worth me to roll all these dice and risk busting and not get the thing that I want. That having a clarity of a target to go after helps me decide whether or not it's the time to push my luck or the time to just stay and move forward a little bit. I gain a little bit of money to spend that round. I really like that as well. A lot of stuff going on. If you want a simple answer, I'd go with the shortcuts. I think the shortcuts are a great mechanism in the game, but the whole push your luck system I think works really, really well in Cubitos. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've played Cubitos. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below about your favorite mechanism in the game, or if this reminds you of any other push your luck or racing game that you want to talk about in the comments. I'm happy to discuss that as well. Thanks.